A very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for investing your time on a Tuesday noon and joining our panel discussion on the topic, the big thing in Metaverse. My name is Rekha Khan. I'm going to be moderating the panel discussion today. On joining, you would notice that you all are in mute. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please write them on the chat section. We will take them up in the Q&A session. From the creator of Odin MCX and IEX, here is yet another credible and exchange-neutral platform a user can rely on while working towards the path of crypto and blockchain understanding. Starting from education to knowledge to all the latest news, all covered under one super app, CryptoWire. Let me first take you through the world's first crypto university, Crypto TV, and CryptoWire services. We all know that crypto and blockchain ecosystem is emerging at an immense speed, and to keep a track of all the events, prices, news look to be difficult. So what if we have an app like our buddy who works with us, thinks like us, and responds to what we expect? Yes, you heard me right. Our own global crypto super app, CryptoWire. Let me now take you through the app briefly. Let's start with the homepage of the app, which covers three verticals: Crypto University, Crypto TV, and CryptoWire. Under the Wire services, we have rolled out India's first global index of cryptos, IC15. IC15 tracks the performance of the top 15 cryptocurrencies based on market capitalization. So this is it. Crypto enthusiasts and crypto traders can take informed decisions based on IC15. Under the Wirewatch section, in this section, you can monitor the best exchange to buy and a best exchange to sell a particular cryptocurrency. In the center of the screen in the yellow box, you can see you can also monitor the arbitrage opportunity available between the two exchanges for the same cryptocurrency. We have more than 400 plus cryptocurrencies listed on our platform, along with 70 plus crypto exchanges worldwide. Coming to Crypto TV is an exclusive 24/7 IP mobile TV covering everything on crypto and blockchain ecosystem. It's currently available in 4 different languages: English, Hindi, Gujarati, and Marathi. Coming to the university, being the world's first digital university to offer courses on blockchain and cryptocurrency, you can find the best courses available on a single click. We have developed a lot of courses. I would definitely ask all the users to kindly download CryptoWire app and go through our courses. Today, we're going to be having an amazing panel discussion on the new big thing in Metaverse, where our speakers will be sharing the insight of the Metaverse world and will be sharing the tips on the opportunities in this space. And all of this from the experts from Web 3.0 and Metaverse perspective, so that the audience can make the best use of these tips to build a prospective career. Let's have a healthy discussion to increase our knowledge. Today, CryptoWire's goal is that every individual attending this webinar should go back with the knowledge that will help you see things in a fresh perspective. And you can apply this knowledge and information that you're gathering today from our speakers to make informed decision in this space. So here's how the format is going to be for today. We will take a few minutes to briefly introduce the panel members and understand their background. I'll then kick off the conversation by asking a few questions to our panelists. And then the last but not the least, we shall have the audience coming in with their questions. Hope this sounds good. Great. Let's start with the introduction of the panel. I have with me Mr. Piyush Bhatia. Piyush is a media and tech veteran with over 15 years of experience in content, marketing, and building brands. Till recently, Piyush worked with RFox, a Metaverse, crypto, and blockchain startup, where he was the chief marketing officer and overhauled their marketing department, which yielded significant growth. Piyush started his career in the media industry as a producer at CNN, IBM, helped launch TV stations for Star and Viacom 18. He then moved into the space of editorial and content strategy with Eros Now, an OTT platform, and later pivoted into marketing and growth. He has a vast experience in the blockchain space and deeply understands the Web3 industry concept, communication, and decentralized nature of the future. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Second up, I have with me Mr. Ajoy Pathak, a crypto Web 3.0 and a metaverse expert. Ajoy comes with 20 years of rich experience in the field of training, research, and development. Being an early adapter of the new technology, Mr. Ajoy has great expertise in understanding the fundamentals of Web 3.0 and metaverse industry. His passion for training and education has got him a long way. Hi, Ajoy. Welcome to the session.
Hi, Rika. Hi, Piyush. Thank you.
Welcome. So a very warm welcome to you both again. This panel is going to be discussing specifically on 10 questions that we have today for this session. And I'm hoping that all the viewers get their answers to all the queries that they have. So Piyush, are you there?
Yes, I am very excited.
Thank you. So I'll start off with the first question. What is the literal meaning of metaverse? We would want to know what exactly is metaverse. Both of you take this up. Yeah.
Sure. It's simply put, the word metaverse was coined by author Neil Stephenson in his 1992 sci-fi novel called Snow Crash, right? In his book, Neil referred to the metaverse as this all-encompassing digital world that exists in parallel with our reality, which is in our world. So, in essence, metaverse is a term for a collection of virtual worlds. It combines elements of virtual reality, augmented reality, online gaming, social media, blockchain, etc. The basic idea is to introduce a sense of presence to the internet, right? With, you think 3D avatars, think synchronized virtual spaces that everyone can share. Like, think of it as a world which exists parallel to your reality, wherein anybody can go. So you could be sitting in your house and you could visit your friend's house, wearing 3D, wearing virtual reality headsets. You could be sitting in your house and you could be shopping on, shopping in a virtual reality mall. You could be attending a concert. You could be doing just about anything while in the comfort of your own house, just using this new technology. So think of the metaverse essentially as I won't really call it a parallel world, because I think that's taking away from our own world. But think of it as an alternate, dimension to go to while to have shared experiences.
Great. Just think of this, Rekha, Piyush, what we are doing, and all our listeners over here. What are we doing right now? We are attending a panel discussion. We are having a conversation. I am sitting in my office. You guys are sitting at your home, listening into it, tuning into it, and things here. So we all are communicating. We are exchanging ideas over a digital space, right? We are seeing each other in a digital space. I mean, this itself, that we have already stepped into the metaverse. This is the metaverse, guys. And it's not very far away. It's just happening right here, right now. The only thing is that just that, when we are talking about a virtual reality or an augmented reality and things like that, to be imbibed into this technology right now, if you have to feel what I am doing, I'm talking to a laptop. But essentially, I'm talking to you. I mean, you guys are there beyond this laptop in the digital spaces out there. So imagine that. So this experience is digital. It is not immersive. What if I can see all of your holograms around me and you can see me while we are discussing with each other? We are having this very conference in that kind of an, virtual reality. That is metaverse. So what Piyush says, we are exactly there, only few notches below. We'll have to work towards that immersive experience that we are having. Essentially, it is communication between people, experience sharing in the digital world as good as if it was happening in the real life. That's metaverse. It's a concept.
Well said to both of you all. Thank you so much. So going one step ahead, we've understood what is metaverse. Now, what is the ownership in a metaverse?
So, in a very brief nutshell, the ownership in the metaverse is in the form of NFTs, right? There are multiple things you can own. You can own land, you can own land parcels, you can own your own avatars. You can own your own avatars in the metaverse, which are essentially 3D representation of you, and you own them in the form of on-chain NFTs, which I'm sure Ajoy is a better person to explain this because he's the crypto expert. But
I'm no expert. I mean, that's wrongly put down over there.
That's what he always says.
I'm still learning.
So let me change that to learner.
Actually,
let me change that to learner then, as Ajoy is the crypto learner.
I always insist, Rekha, to put it as learner, enthusiast, say whatever you like, but don't put me up as an expert. I don't deserve to be called an expert.
So in essentially, the ownership is in the form of NFTs, which are quite prevalent today and widely understood. And you could essentially own everything from a piece of land to farm on, to a piece of land in a shopping mall, a piece of land in a concert hall where you could invite somebody to do a concert. And what is being built essentially is this vast scale of parallel world wherein people like you and me now have an opportunity to own things and then to be able to monetize it over a longer period.
Would you like to add to this?
Yeah, just one point. I mean, this thing about ownership is essentially what Web 3.0 is letting you do at this point of time. So when we are talking about metaverse ownership and things like that, see, I can foresee metaverse shaping up in two ways. Number one, it can still be, corporation controlled. It's a closed metaverse. Okay. So something like what Facebook is doing with the Meta project, something what Microsoft is doing with their Meta project and things like that. So once you are logging into those metaverses, then perhaps you are still in that Web 2.0 space and you're sharing your personal data with them. But then there is an open metaverse, which is also going to happen. Now, this open metaverse is essentially, people like you and me coming together. We are putting forward in creator economy and some protocols are being made up so that our metaverse experience is shared and open and everybody could participate. In that, our wallets become the medium through which we control all these digital tokens and other things, our presence, our activities and other things into that metaverse. So herein, you get that immersive experience called metaverse, plus the facilities or the differences of Web 3.0 comes as an interplay over here in an open metaverse kind of a thing. So if we have that siloed metaverse or in metaverse kind of a thing, which are still controlled by the corporations, then we still have the data ownership handed over to them. Okay. We are sharing our data with them and they remain the essential owners of the data. So that's the Web 2.0, data ownership policy being implemented in that corporation controlled metaverse area. And that's also going to happen. And this open metaverse is also going to happen. So we can, at that point of time, choose how we would like to participate. Are we going to participate through the corporation controlled metaverse? Again, that's an immersive experience with these holograms and avatars and that part. Or are we going to participate in the open metaverse with our wallets, which essentially is Web 3.0 coming into play? And accordingly, the ownership will be defined in either of the cases.
Absolutely. So when you're saying that, then the next question is, why is it called metaverse if it's all silent?
I don't think it is all siloed. I would say that the industry is very nascent right now, right? It's a technology that is being developed currently. Every night when you go to bed and when you wake up in the morning, you realize that there are 5 new developments that you didn't think were possible overnight, right? It's expanding rapidly. And I think because it's so nascent, it seems it's very siloed, but you can already see that a lot of work is being done to make it interoperable and not siloed. Right. A good example would be, the Open Metaverse Alliance, which is a great step by the industry to work towards this integration. I do believe the larger goal amongst everyone is to make it interoperable, to make it an open metaverse without borders. But of course, that is also a choice that the user has to make, right? Like Ajoy mentioned, a lot of Web 2 companies are starting their own metaverses. They're entering the Web 3 without really giving credence to the core philosophy and thought of Web3, which is that the data ownership has to be with the user and not the corporation, right? So like Ajoy mentioned, if you were to go use Facebook's vision of the metaverse, the data would still not reside with you, right? Because their core philosophy is that the data is owned by Facebook, and they are the ones in control of that data to be able to serve you ads, to be able to sell that data to third parties, etc. But with the new companies that are building the metaverse, I think there is a genuine effort being put in, at least now, so that over the next couple of years, by the time metaverse releases in all its glory, then it's already interoperable, it's not siloed. You could jump from one person's shopping mall to another person's house very easily without really blinking an eye.
Sure. So going on, if everything is digital, so then if everything is digital, what do you actually own in metaverse in that case? Because everything is digital.
So see, whenever this question of ownership is being put forward, one thing is that if you want to have your real assets or this world assets being converted into their digital forms, you put it into a smart contract and then it becomes your wallet asset, right? And then you are essentially accessing the internet and doing everything through your wallet, and that's what you own. So it's basically the physical property or the physical asset which is there, and it's digital representation. And transferring from my wallet to your wallet or Piyush's wallet will transfer the ownership from me to you or Piyush, whatsoever the case may be. That's where the NFTs come into play. That's where the the various other things like tokens to a particular asset, not only NFTs, any other asset, it could be tokenized, and your share could be a part of that entire tokenized property comes into play. So that's the ownership thing. It becomes wallet to wallet, and if it has got some physical thing, it is a digital representation of the same, or it could be an asset which can be created entirely into a digital platform altogether. Let's say, for example, today, when you are into a gaming solution and other things, you're using a lot of skins. Those skins are your properties again, which you can keep on using, or you can keep on trading. I don't know. I mean, how many of you remember the game Need for Speed? I used to be a fan of that game, particularly Need for Speed. And we used to have these cars out there, swanky looking cars. So you got a Ferrari, you got a McLaren, and things is you'll have to earn the game tokens to get a better scheme with a greater performing ability and other things. And we are crazy about getting a McLaren for that matter, and so on and so forth. So this is something which keeps on happening, and this is something which will happen in the digital world also. So this will become digital assets which people will covet for. And if you go around seeing seeing the kids of today, they do brag about their physical assets. Like if they are wearing a Reebok in real life, they are also bragging about wearing a Reebok in their digital avatar also. So those things are happening. It's already happening. So this is what you own. It is about how your society around you, or how your peer group reinforces their belief in you.
Absolutely.
So if I am wearing a Ray-Ban today, and my friends are going all over here, I have some friends who are there in the digital sphere also. So if I can get an NFT which is a Ray-Ban NFT or something like that, and I can brag it about them, and they kind of hero worship me or appreciates me in that world, that is a positive reinforcement for me to repeat that behavior over there. And that then becomes the digital asset which I would be owning over there, and will be helping me. So that's the world that we are moving into gradually.
Absolutely, I agree with this, because ये question हमें काफी regularly आता है कि when you're saying it is digitalized, how is it that you're owning things? So a recent experience I would like to share on this. My son had downloaded Snapchat, and apparently he was creating his own avatar in that. Okay, so उसमें when he was creating his own image avatar over there, I realized that there were Adidas t-shirts over there, and he was like, "Mom, see, I'm wearing an Adidas t-shirt." Right? So that's exactly what. So I could relate when you were saying, yeah, there's a lot of things that you own there too in your digital avatar. Absolutely. So thank you so much. Now the fourth question that I have for the panel is, how will the metaverse unfold and transform enterprise?
Massively, massively, right? Everything from, let me answer this question in two parts. A, it's going to change us as a society, and it's, thereafter going to have an effect on just about every aspect of our living in that sense, and one of them being enterprise and the way we work, right? So, from our personal experience perspective, everything will change, from the way we earn money, the way we learn things, the way we connect with each other. This is basically adding a layer onto the top of the internet, right? So what this is going to do is it's going to bring interactivity to our internet, right? So every experience that you and I have on the internet is going to have an interactive element to it, right? Like Ajoy mentioned in the beginning of the seminar, this example of us on this Zoom meeting. Now, I'll give you an example. I was in the first time I entered the metaverse to do a group team meeting. I spent 15 minutes like a little boy just poking each other's avatar, because it was just such a transformational experience, right? That
I spent
I had
jumping.
never experienced before, right? So you're not just suddenly sitting in front of a computer talking to someone. You could turn around when they talk, you can hear them like they're sitting right next to you, right? You could shift places, you can walk around. So it's a massive experience. It changes the way you interact with each other. Now imagine this being replicated in the way you shop, in the way obviously you can't eat in the metaverse, unfortunately yet, but I'm sure human race will find a way. But every interaction that you have with each other, the way you travel is going to change. And this brings me to the enterprise, right? There is just so much happening in the world of working and learning, which is going to get affected, right? Everything from sales and marketing to customer support to learning and development of employees in the organization is going to change, because this is going to have a positive impact on all of this. For example, think of metaverse enabled training simulations where employees can learn new skills faster, and customer service agents who can guide you like they are around you as opposed to talking to you on the phone. One thing that probably is not the best, which is going to happen, is you can forget the large scale conferences and work travel. So anybody who enjoyed going on office trips to outstation trips, or I used to travel a lot through my offices to acquire content. We would go to south of France, we would go to LA to MIPCOM and Cannes Film Festival and all. So I think at some point in our lives, all of that will come to an end, because everything will move to the metaverse. But a lot of positive impact will also happen. Your sales and marketing teams, your communication, your customer service, just about everything will change. Right. What do you think, Ajoy? I don't know if you're going to miss.
Essentially, I mean, the way
Ajoy likes traveling to Calcutta.
No, not really. You put a fat man inside a small seat and strap him with a belt and say happy journey. That's not really the experience that I am looking out for. Over and over again. No, but to be honest, I'm pretty excited about how Metaverse is going to change the things that we go about doing. Just imagine, how have we shifted from going hopping restaurants and waiting outside a restaurant to get our tables, to ordering on Zomato today. And that transformation has, obviously, I agree that it has been accelerated by the COVID situation. But today, what I find is, despite COVID not being there or not such a threat and the restaurants open out, the restaurant owners are at a benefit that they have to service less dine-in clients, and they make more margin by this restaurant guys outside, as well as we are also kind of happy to get those discounts as well as enjoying from the comfort of our home. So it's a win-win. It was a win-win situation earlier, but today it's a win-win-win situation. So the consumer, the restaurant owner, and the delivery guy, all of them are making something out of the entire ecosystem without adding to the cost. Because what has happened today in the Zomato model itself, if you look at the greater economics of it, we have added a large amount of value with a lot less spend. So the cost benefit is definitely in the favor of a digital medium. Now imagine a fashion store. It has to open store locations at every major cities, pay for the real estate and things like that. If it can do the similar kind of a thing on Metaverse, look at the cost savings. Look at the experience sharing and lens cut. You put a lens on your face and you can see how you look in a lens, right? You can really make your avatar put on those clothes and the fashion elements and then can perceive how you look and you go about it without even moving out from your house. You don't have to travel to that place. That guy doesn't have to pay rent for that location and a sale is being done. Communications is the key to our human society. And if we can communicate without spending a huge amount of money for the creator, for the customer, that's the benefit that we are talking about. And this is only going to be, a very exciting and possible and economically sensible thing to be had in the metaverse.
Absolutely, I agree to this. Now, since we've already discussed this, coming to the sustainability, what new dimensions will the metaverse open for sustainability?
Piyush, would you like to go ahead with this?
I was just thinking, in a larger scheme of thing, because everything will move to your experiences in the place you are at, the physical resource consumption around the world is going to reduce, right? Travel is a great example. We spend so much of carbon emissions in fuel when we're taking a flight from one place to another. Now imagine not having to be able to do that, to be able to save on a lot of resources while, engaging in the same thing in the metaverse, right? Imagine not having to travel to another country to go to an Adele or a Katy Perry concert while you can do it from the comfort of your own home. You're saving time, you're saving resources, you're saving money while not having to go to the mall to try on, new clothes and new shoes, and you can just do it. You can just experience that entire thing while sitting where you are. So I think in larger scheme of things, from a sustainability perspective, I do think the physical resource consumption all across will get considerably reduced. Carbon emissions, travel, your fuels, just about everything, right? Ajoy, what do you think?
Yeah, and one more thing which I feel is going to happen in a great way to help our sustainability is that, see, sustainability is one topic which is not concerning an individual and it is not to be taken up by an individual alone. What internet is doing is that it is bringing the individuals together. It is helping us, put our efforts together, put our minds together. It is bringing all of us closer kind of a thing in our efforts. We are collaborating over in digital space. It is much more feasible than doing it on a physical space and things like that. So it obviously is going to take us to that level in which a larger society can come forward participating into those addressing those sustainable goals that we have and achieve them together. So in a way, and again, see, the thing is physically, if we talk about the financial aspect of it, because poverty alleviation is also one of the SDGs that we have from the UN. About 1 billion people in this world are unbanked right now at this point of time, the moment that we speak of, because the banks do not have the infrastructure to reach out to them. The last mile guys, the tribals, and the very resource poor areas of this world, those people cannot participate into the mainstream just because they don't even have the basic facilities like a bank account. As simple as that. And they are also very key to the sustainability thing, because the sustainability is not just the 7 billion people who have the bank accounts, but also the 1 billion people who do not have that. So we have to think in that level. And this is only possible if, the internet reaches out to them. If Web 3.0 reaches out to them, power them with a wallet, which they can use over the internet, put themselves into the mainstream of our society and contribute to the sustainable thing together. So somewhere when we are talking about, internet improving things for us, we are talking collectively and not really individually. So that is something which is going to be achieved as we move forward. Our communication is going to become much more efficient because the hassles of communicating will come down and down. We will be collaborating in a better way, and we will be achieving the sustainable development goals uh, as a unit together, as a larger unit than what we are doing at present. So that's some of the things that I have in mind.
Excellent. So now going on, since we've already discussed about the sustainability, how will implementation of the metaverse develop around the world? What are your views on that? How is it going to be implemented?
See, you're already probably starting to notice that more and more companies and countries are onboarding the metaverse ship, right? Some companies have already have their own metaverses. Take, for example, Sandbox and Decentral. Disney is aspiring to be the happiest place in the metaverse already. Tencent of China has registered more than 20 metaverse-related trademarks, game trademarks. The Seoul Metropolitan Government, which is a municipal government, has recently announced it to be the first major city to enter the metaverse. Its preliminary name is Metaverse Seoul. Intends to build a virtual communication ecosystem for all aspects of its, municipal administration within the metaverse. Barbados is going to be the first country to open its embassy in the metaverse. So I think slowly and gradually, more and more companies, more and more organizations, more and more countries are going to join the bandwagon. You would have everything from countries' embassies to metaverse-centric games in different parts of the region. You would have games which are a game which has different versions of UAE versus India versus China versus US, right? All built in the metaverse. So the development around the world is going to be led by, of course, the private sector, but I do see governments also jumping into the bandwagon massively around the world.
So there's two aspects to it, Piyush. Correct me if I'm wrong. The way I see it is that, yes, I mean, there are these small decentralized projects which are going to come up, contribute to the whole metaverse. So in effect, what we are saying is that we are moving into an interoperable multiverse, like what you said earlier. It's not really metaverse, one single world, but it's going to be several worlds, several experiences, but with a significant amount of, interoperability, that you can jump in from one experience to another. In a walled garden kind of an approach, this creator economy is going to come up. But then if you talk about the race of how this is going to happen and how this is going to really pan out, I believe there are some companies which have got huge infrastructure spend to build around this. So creating a metaverse experience is not an easy thing. You need to actually recreate the entire virtual experience around you, and that's thousands of lines of codes put together, the way I see it. Okay. Layers, experiences, move around. Then there is some good amount of spatial computing wherein you recognize the gestures and then the environment responds to you in that kind of a gesture and things like that. So there's very high level of data interaction which is going to happen to make it possible. High levels of code efficiency, natural language processing, spatial computing, all these things are going to be put into this entire thing. So there's a huge amount of resource spend which is required for construction of this metaverse experience in these things. So once you're saying that it is siloed or interoperable, whatever, the thing is we are going to have this multiverse. Some people are going to have a lead because of high resource spending capability to begin with. But overall, the smaller guys, the decentralized efforts are going to catch up and contribute to this whole thing. So today we have this low code, no code platforms. I was looking at one of them for metaverse building and things like that. So these are also coming up. So we have a significant amount of creator economy, which is also evolving to support this space. And it's the way it is going is pretty exciting, and the way it will keep on emphasizing itself, it's going to be tremendously exciting times ahead of us.
Absolutely. Now we've already discussed about
and Piyush, just to add to you, Fortnite is the concert location on Metaverse.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But, just to also
I just
add to
love those. I just love those.
absolutely, absolutely. But just to also add to what Ajoy was saying about complexities in building it. That's a very, there are twofold complexities, right? A, obviously from a development perspective, he's absolutely right. You are essentially creating a new virtual world and a new visually different world, right? And not one, many of them at the same time. So the skill set required to move from where we are today to imagining this new universe of sorts is obviously going to, everything from tech development to engineers to
Absolutely.
game developments and designers, so it's going to take considerable amount of human capital and, interest to build it. At the same time, human nature is also something to be considered, right? Questions on privacy, questions on rules and laws that you need to follow inside a virtual world, wherein in all likelihood, a bulk of people are going to be anonymous, need to be answered, right? How do you time them out? How do you ensure the rule of law which exists in today's physical world is also followed in the virtual world? Is, I think, the larger question that all of these companies will also, try to answer over the next couple of months and years.
Yes, absolutely. So with the transformation of the enterprises, their sustainability, their implementation, moving on, we would want to know how will Metaverse change the society? How is it going to impact the society?
Like I said earlier, everything is going to change, right? This is essentially changing the way you interact with the internet. A good analogy would be like currently we don't say that, Facebook is a company, Google is a company, Apple is a company, but it's the same internet that is used by everyone, right? So think of Metaverse also, in an evolved form. Metaverse is going to be the new internet of sorts, wherein, everyone is building their own private world and then making it interoperable for you to be able to use, right? That's a base layer. So everything is going to change. The way you interact, the way you educate yourself, the way you get education in the university is now going to be virtual. The way you shop is going to be virtual. The way you entertain yourself is going to be virtual. We earlier used to read the news on a newspaper, then we started reading it on the phone, then we started watching videos, and at some point we're going to be experiencing news inside the virtual world, right? Inside the virtual reality headsets. So your society is going to have this huge transformation from becoming a passive participant in events on the internet to being an active participant to be able to experience those events around you, right? So I think that's going to be the larger change in the society. Of course, one of the bigger questions that will remain is going to be the rule of law. How do you, take the same laws that exist here and also make anonymous people obey them, right? And that's the challenge that I think multiple governments and regulators would find to solve. But I have no doubt that by the time we have released a workable version of the metaverse in a couple of years, with mass enablement wherein everyone can participate, all of these issues will get sorted.
Absolutely. Anything to add, Ajoy, on this?
Just a little bit of an experience, like when we were growing up in Calcutta, Piyush. I mean, tea shops used to be a very big part of our lives. 4 friends and in tea shop and hours of discussing on some topic or the other used to be very much central to our very existence at that point of time. So few days back, I walked into a coffee shop, cafe coffee day to be precise, and there were 4 guys who were sitting there, 4 friends, and that reminded me of my 4 friends with whom I used to share the tea space. Now, the difference is that these guys are sitting in a cafe and everyone has a mobile in their hand. And it's not that they're just not conversing among themselves in the real world, they're doing it. The conversation is going like, देखना मैंने Facebook पे ये post किया, like कर दे, share किया क्या तूने? So there is something parallel which is going on, friends hanging out with each other in the real world, also in simultaneously in the virtual world. And this is today the time spent in digital world is something around 2 to 3 hours or 4 hours maybe on an average, but it's going to go deeper because the trend is saying that we are going to spend more time digitally than we are going to spend on the real world. So eventually in the metaverse, maybe friends will be hanging out with each other also. So the interaction level is going to be entirely different. We are going to learn on the metaverse. We are going to metaverse marriages are also already started happening. People are getting married on metaverse. So hanging out together with friends in the metaverse is not a big deal anymore. The entire society is changing.
Absolutely. So how would you say that a human-centered experience, how is Metaverse going to reframe the human-centered experiences, according to you?
It's going to get costly. I mean, that's going to get costly. If you want to share a cup of tea with me at a cafe coffee day, I'm going to charge you for doing that because that's costing my internet time now. Probably we can see those days coming in.
Absolutely.
Piyush, your take on that.
I'm not going to comment on cost or who's going to subsidize that cost, but I think the entire point is to enhance the human experience from the current version of
Right.
the internet to make it more interactive and more experiential, right? So I think in the same speed, this is the evolution of the internet and social media. It's the next logical evolution. It's an evolution that can't possibly be stopped anymore because I think we've too far gone, right? So I think the idea is to now make everything that we do, our actions on the internet, make them more engaging, remove the barriers of cost and distance attached to things, right? Like I was saying earlier, imagine not having to travel to go to an Adele concert, or not having to go to a movie theater to watch a movie, a hall type movie, but watching it inside your own private theater in your goggles. So I think this is going to enhance those human interactions. You will be. I'll give you a personal example. I've worked in India all my life, right? There are opportunities that come to people who work in. I've worked in TV. I worked in TV production. There are that's the kind of opportunities that we get, and there are certain kind of opportunities that we don't get. To be quite honest, working wherever we are in the background that some of us come from. But I have now worked with people across the world. Collaborating on projects that would genuinely not be the kind of opportunity I would be given had it not been for this virtual reality that we're living, that we are trying to create, right? So your experiences that it's going to create to be able to collaborate around the world, to be able to do things that you weren't able to do from your own physical location. The barrier has been, in a certain sense, has been removed, and I think that's one of the bigger promises of this new metaverse.
In jobs also, we are going to get metaverse only roles after a few days. Non-metaverse roles will not be existing. So probably you'll have to pay a premium for non-metaverse roles.
Yeah, could be. So going on now, since we've talked about the opportunities, and with with this space booming in a big time, what kind of employment opportunities will this generate?
So, just to give you a very simple example, just a couple of weeks ago, Dubai announced its own metaverse strategy. They've basically said they're going to add $4 billion to their economy and create 40,000 new jobs. That's an astounding number of new jobs coming in one physical location. Right now, imagine the same thing being replicated around the world, right? It's new. You're basically developing a new technology, right? Everyone from engineers to game developers to designers to visual artists to tech developers, your opportunities are just going to increase to be able to match the speed of production of this new virtual world. So I see massive opportunities coming up for everybody, right? Everyone from marketing to development to content to writing to tech. It's just a wide field open. And over the next couple of years, I think humongous number of opportunities and global opportunities at that, right? Which are not restricted by physical barriers, wherein people like you and me can apply for global opportunities while sitting in the cities in India that we're sitting in. So I think that's going to be extremely important and promising.
Correct.
Absolutely. Anything to add, Ajoy?
See, again, this world is becoming one single digital, unit, moving, working, playing together. So these physical barriers are being broken down. So the employment opportunities today do not depend on location, where are you, how much do you want, and things like that. It depends entirely on skills. I have this role. Do I have somebody who fits into the skills? No matter where he is, if he can come online and contribute, he's a part of my team. So this is already happening, and this will only get better and better when our experience becomes much more immersive. So that's what the metaverse is going to do. It's going to increase the productivity online. So today, when I am looking out for people to come and join me in my team in a physical movement, I get rejected 20 times before somebody, actually agrees to. So most of them are like saying that, yeah, fine, I'm open to work, but WFH only. So COVID has actually accelerated that. Today, people have realized that WFH is going to be a much better contributory thing because they can work in their time. Uh, the organizations also have to bear less cost infrastructurally to host the employees over there. So somewhere this entire revolution have already started, and we are getting dragged into that kind of a world where metaverse is just not a dream or concept as such. It is becoming an essential. It's becoming something that we need to execute more creatively, more immersively into that zone where our workplace is taking us. And obviously, I mean, given the employment generation, it's not only supply and demand of skill across the world which is going to, it's also going to open a large number of, jobs for that matter. Like one thing which Piyush was pointing at different points of time during his talk is that one area is our own digital representation, and then our owning up to that responsibility, our we ourselves owning up to what our avatar does in the metaverse. That's something which is which creates a lot of opportunities also, but also exposes us to significant amount of risks. So there is a huge amount of space which is getting laid open out there into the metaverse, where people and good intentions do need protection from the potential threats which the metaverse is also opening us up to. So these are some of the newer kind of employments which will be generating, and new things. Not only development, but also execution will need a lot of expertise in that area coming in. So some, new digital legal whatsoever, some, digital, you spend so much time digitally, obviously that's going to affect your psyche somewhere. Perhaps that also needs some amount of psychological evaluation therapies to come into play. Those are some of the employment generations which will also be there. Sorry, I'm taking out the negative aspects, but obviously, I mean, if there are negative aspects, then somebody needs to fix them also, because we all already always need to move ahead.
I just want
Absolutely.
to add, I just want
Yeah.
to add one last bit to Ajoy's mention on work from home. Boss, no traffic. So not to negate the fact that you don't have to brave traffic and work from home anymore, which is I think the biggest plus point ever.
Absolutely, I agree to this. I travel like 1.5 hours while returning back home, and I really get haggard traveling. So I'll completely agree to this
Okay,
point.
okay. We understand. We empathize with you.
Anyways, so now since we've all spoken about all the positivity, it booming and a lot of good vibes. Now I would want to know, what are the complexities and challenges one is going to face in metaverse?
Mm.
I think from my perspective, I think the larger thing is the anonymous nature of your avatars, and you being able to hide your identity at some level. So it's the human nature essentially, right? When nobody's watching, you tend to do things that you wouldn't usually do. So just from that perspective, I think it will be interesting to see how the rule of law applies, in larger sense of thing. And I think that's something to watch out for. We've already had a couple of negative reports of harassment, of violence, of of things that shouldn't have happened in the metaverse already. But I think it's just human nature, right? So I think that's something that needs to be tackled.
You remember that game which came on the dark web sometimes, and the youth were caught playing it, Blue Whale or something,
Yeah,
in
yeah,
which,
blue wave.
in which people used to like jump off the rooftops at the end of the day and end of the game to be winners and things like that. So just imagine that. I mean, if that can be something which can be done with your smartphone, that could easily be done on a much more immersive experience, and that could create, kind of permanent damages to young minds early on. And today we are talking not only about enterprise interactions, moving to a deeper level of engagement in our communication medium, but we are also talking about social, engagements moving to a deeper level of connect. So there will be dating sites and things like that. Young people will be logging in with some amount of anonymity. Now, technology, see, is an enabler, okay, but it is direction agnostic. Technology essentially doesn't tell you that you have to use it for good purposes only. You can also use the same technology for, nefarious purposes, for hurting other people and things like that. So we have to be very careful about how that thing is, moving forward. If there are a couple of incidents which are happening, which are not desirable, and how to take care of that and things like that. So I guess as a society, first thing is that we'll have to accept that this digital transformation is something which is going to happen. We will have to assess the situation, like what are the things which, the negative and the nefarious intentions might put this technology to use to at the end of the day, and how do you prevent that? How do you actually prevent that? So, they may not allow me having those, six-pack avatars, which I was really dreaming about having in the metaverse. They're going to put some restrictions about my own digital representations, but that's where it is. If it is for the greater good of the society, I'll have to give those things up. I don't know how that is going to shape up.
Absolutely. I'm sure you would want to look nice in your avatar. No worries. So we're done with our panel questions, but however, we have a few questions which have come in on the chat section. The first one is, are metaverse and decentral land the same? Either
No,
one
not
of you.
that. Decentral is an metaverse-based gaming experience, and it really, gives you that immersive experience. You can move around. You should visit the Decentraland and play it once, and you'll get a clear picture. I think Samsung now has put up a store in Decentraland where you can go and actually check out the products in virtual reality, and it feels like you're actually looking at a Samsung product on the Decentraland. It's a pretty good thing. You should go into Decentraland and check it out.
Okay. So I hope we've got the answer to that. Any suggestions on, apart from Samsung, where else can you go and actually experience the decentral land? You could probably put it in the chat section if you can, to everyone. A joy.
Piyush, you can add something. You want to add something to that?
There are multiple companies who've launched their own versions of the of the metaverse, and their own gaming experiences, right? So if you do have access to an Oculus, it's a wonderful device, despite the fact that it's owned by Facebook. It's a wonderful device, and you could really go and immerse yourself. The quality of the games, the quality of experiences that are being built, they are just outstanding. And once
The
you go,
concerts are awesome. The music concerts are awesome.
It's a rabbit hole, right? Once you go in, there is, you feel, you see the development already, and then, it shows you a sample of, if this is how good it already is, think how much better it would be a couple of years down the line, right? So we are essentially looking at AAA level gaming in a couple of years inside the metaverse. So that's what's being built. So if you can get access to an Oculus, it's a great way to experience this.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Next question up we have, with development of metaverse and things going digital, should the government also be prepared for universal basic income people, since it can lead to a lot of unemployment in low skilled physical jobs?
I don't really see, let me try to answer it in a very different way. So I don't think the metaverse is a way for you to disconnect from your reality. That is not how this is going to be, right? I think some of us have seen the movie Ready Player One, and we are taking that as an example of how this is going to be a new world wherein we will go and live, and this world will just, not be given enough importance. I don't think that's what it's going to be. I think metaverse is going to enhance your experience on the internet. So think of it as a new visual and virtual reality of everything that you're doing on your phone, on your computer today. It's not really going to replace your real life, right? It's not an escape pod wherein you can leave your worries around the world, and you can forget working, and you can forget eating, and you can forget your family and friends, and you can just go be here. That's not how this is going to be. This is an add-on to your internet. This is an experience to your internet. It's enhancing your equation with other people and your interactions with other people. But at the same time, your real world is not. This is not a substitute to your real world. Ajoy, is there any other way to put this?
And I'll put it this way, Piyush. I mean, I try to take an optimistic view of everything. Now, let's see the impact it is going to leave, and probably what we are looking at in a global GDP going up because of better collaboration, better skill distribution, and better productivity among the masses coming together at different projects and other things. So there's a larger uh, pie which is being baked out of here because of this enhanced collaboration, and obviously the participants will get a better piece of the larger pie. So this is I tend to look at this, and I want everybody to look at this as a better opportunity to work and earn, rather than setting minimum standards at a higher level to take it further. Obviously, I mean, the society's experiences are not going to be I mean, all equal kind of a thing. It is going to be distributed, but obviously some of the skilled peoples will get in ahead much more quickly and make better of it, and some people who need to get skilled into these newer techniques and other things will be left a little behind. But obviously, I mean, that's a process of natural selection, and we are going global with this natural selection process. And as Piyush rightly puts it, this is not an escape route. This is an medium to enhance your being, from what it is today. Let's just take it this way. This is not a problem, neither a solution. This is just another means to get to your ends.
Absolutely. I agree to this point, Ajoy. So there's one question which has come up. What are the job opportunities one can look for in the metaverse space? What kind of jobs can one look for?
So we've already tried to answer this, but just about everything, right? Because it's in its nascent stages and it's being developed. So I think the larger skill set required today is everyone from coding to engineering to tech development to designers. But I think over a period of time, as more and more industries move in, everything from customer service to shopping assistants to, just about everything will eventually move, I believe. At least I'm very optimistic about this technology. So I believe over a period of time, everybody and everything will move into the metaverse. So I think there will be a parallel role for everything that is being done traditionally in the metaverse also. As of today, however, because it's still a very developing technology, I think technology guys are the ones who are the most in demand, as is the case with all new things. But over a period of time, all of us will be.
Very much similar to what Web 2.0 jobs have moved, right? So initial days we used to engage mostly the web developers, those guys to develop a website and things like that. But look at today. Today we have social media marketing content writers, to social media marketing strategies, to digital heads, at different places, and we have digital strategies, how to go about a digital marketing strategy, and so things and everything so together. So basically, once this gets established, then the needs of the people who are participating into this will come up, and to address those needs, newer jobs will be created. So it will become mushrooming in the later stages.
True. I've got the last question that is coming from Parag. How do you make purchases in the metaverse?
So that's easy. I mean, you go select something that you want to purchase. You have to log in with your wallet, and you have to pay through your cryptocurrency, and you get an NFT transferred to your wallet.
Cool.
You want to do it in a physical thing to be purchased in the metaverse, then perhaps you'll have to do your KYC into the metaverse, put in your home address where it will be shipped to and delivered.
Similar to what we do online shopping. Okay.
Correct. So Amazon, is they coming up with their metaverse?
I'll be surprised if they don't eventually.
Yeah.
I don't know if they already are, but there's absolutely no vertical they're not present in. So,
Yeah.
Cool. So I think that was the last question that we got in. I would like to thank both the speakers for taking out their time and sharing their views on today's topic. It was a great panel discussion. Thanks to both of you all. Thanks, Ajoy. Thanks, Piyush. I welcome
so
all
much.
the crypto enthusiasts to kindly download the Crypto Wire if not done already and be a part of the global learning.
Thanks for this opportunity, Piyush. Rekha, I had a great time discussing with you guys, and I look forward to make this more often. Thanks a lot for your time.
Busy man. Thank you so much.
Same. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Rekha.
Thank
See
you.
you then.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Piyush. Yeah.
Bye, everyone.